You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Tuesday, September 24th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my compadres this morning. I got the lovely Grace Monroe, and I got mi hermano de la isla, my brother Ghost. And all you Yankee fans, wake up and get your coffee. Folks, how we doing this morning, Grace?
I'm feeling amazing. I woke up this morning, the magic number's 1. We're back in the Bronx. Future's looking bright. I am doing great. Coffee's tasting good.
Yes.
Ghost, how are you?
Grace, Hector, hopefully you all having a lovely morning. Yes, today is a beautiful, beautiful day to give someone a beating, and that's going to be those Baltimore Orioles. Yes, very excited.
Brother, say it again. No, I'm super excited. We're back home, right? We're at the last stretch of the season. 6 games left. Can you believe, Grace?
No.
6 games left in the season. It literally felt like the season came and the season went. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. One of the best chats that are out there on YouTube. Let's do a roll call real quick. Shout out my guy L. Jacob Petruzzi in the building, the young king. How you doing, Jacob? Jonathan is in the building. My good friend Tina is in the building. Big Lou, how you doing? Good morning, Big Lou. My guy Theo Nosebleed section is in the building, and Jacob said, "My guy Ghost." Absolutely.
What's up, baby?
Got to shout out my lovely girlfriend in the chat who has the guidelines. No hate speech or bullying will be tolerated. If you violate the terms and services of YouTube, of Instagram, of Facebook, or IG, you will be kicked from the chat without warning. We intend this to be a safe space for all because we like to talk sports. We like to talk about our Yankees, but we like to have a good time while we do it. Shout out to retired MCO is in the building. Stephen B, how you doing? Old Sarge is in the building. Salute to you. I got my guy Frankie Rivera. I just want to point something out. Before Sarge ever joined us on the open panel, right? I always thought old Sarge looked like his profile picture, right? I always envisioned that whenever I was to see old Sarge. But when he came up to the open panel and I saw old Sarge in the profile picture, I'm like, I'm not that far off. I think that's a scene from a old war movie. I forgot the name of the movie. Sarge, if you can, put the name of the movie in the chat where you got your profile pic from. Again, shout out to all you guys in the building. If you guys don't mind, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 5K subscribers. We just need a little bit of help. And let's just jump right into the conversation because there's been a convo circulating, and Ghost, you was in the chat last night with our guy Rich Rivera and Sierra and the homies over there from ESB. So shout out to them. But they were having a chat, and Yankees Twitter was having a chat, and we have to talk about Alex Verdugo and Jasson Dominguez going into the postseason. How is the postseason roster going to shape up? And I'm gonna just highlight Verdugo real quick because on the season, Alex Verdugo, he has a 233 batting average, 12 home runs, 58 RBIs with a 646 OPS. River Ave Blues on Twitter, they pointed it out. This is pretty funny. Jasson Dominguez and Alex Verdugo, they now have the same amount of major league home runs since July 7th. And Dominguez was called up just 12 days ago. Grace.
Period.
Since this is your favorite conversation to talk about, right? Jasson Dominguez versus anyone else. What's your thoughts on the convo with Verdugo and Dominguez? And on a serious note, do you think Jasson Dominguez has done enough to warrant a spot on the postseason roster?
Absolutely. Yes. There is no way that I am leaving Jasson Dominguez off of the postseason roster. Okay? There's no way. The upside on this guy outweighs anybody else. If you want to put him up next to Trent Grisham, or you want to put him up next to Alex Verdugo, or you want to put him up next to any other, fourth outfielder or even third outfielder, that you would have on this roster, he's going to have a higher upside. In the postseason, I'm going to put the best players that I have available on my squad. Period. That's point blank, period. The best players that I have available are going to be playing. The best player that you have available to play left field is Jasson Dominguez. Is he the most experienced? No. But is he the best? Yes. You got to take some chances. You got to lean into the postseason magic. That's going to come from Jasson Dominguez, not Alex Verdugo. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying necessarily leave Alex Verdugo totally off.
Okay.
But Jasson is the one. He's the truth. Now, let me ask you guys this. Because if you're going to have a fourth outfielder, potentially, I'm not saying Jasson should be the fourth outfielder, but just talking about who's going to get left off at this point. What does Trent Grisham bring that would make you perhaps put him over Alex Verdugo or Jasson besides the Gold Glove? Besides the Gold Glove, because I don't care.
I'll give you my take on that convo. I want to throw it over to Ghost to get his take on it because I do want to add on to it, and I want to be fair to Ghost. I want to get Ghost's take before I give my entire take. No, I get it. I'm right with you, Grace. Trust me. Shout out to the chat. Let us know as well, folks in the chat. Give us a thumbs up for Jasson Dominguez, or give us a thumbs down for Alex Verdugo. Who do you think the Yankees trust more in left field going into the postseason? Ghost, same question going your way. What's your thoughts on it, brother?
We wouldn't be having this conversation if Jasson was playing left field. Not even a question. But since obviously they have Verdugo there, they weren't just going to let him go down. They weren't going to let him go anywhere. But obviously, if it were up to me, I would have had Jasson Dominguez there over Verdugo. But obviously, they're probably going to have to make a decision on that very soon. I hope it's not Dominguez. I really don't. But obviously, Trent Grisham has that Gold Glove that we're not going to talk about, that defense that we do need. And obviously, obviously, we kind of do need that a little bit. And obviously, Doogie has been struggling, and he's had his moments here and there at the plate. So, to me, honestly, I want it to be Jasson Dominguez to stay. I don't know what they're going to do with Trent Grisham or with Doogie, but that's going to become a discussion between the Yankees and them. But that's just how I feel about it at this point, because I think he offers a lot that the Yankees have not seen enough of yet. And he's starting to get there, hitting that home run, getting on base, getting those steals. Yeah. I think Jasson is going to be that guy that's going to provide those things that we do need on the bases.
He also works when talking about bats. He has long at bats, right? He's disciplined. He doesn't expand the zone. He lets the people behind him see a lot of pitches. He stresses out the pitcher at the plate. Then once he gets on the base pass, he stresses them out too. He is a steal threat. He's smart. He's intelligent. Yeah, maybe he's dropped a couple balls here and there. He's a brand new guy, okay? Don't tell me Verdugo hasn't dropped balls, and don't tell me Grisham hasn't dropped balls even with his Gold Glove, okay? My thing is, Trent, you're not going to pinch run him. He's not a base threat, really. Neither is Verdugo, right? So, okay, we take the base running. Jasson Dominguez is winning, okay? Now we take the defense. Maybe Trent might win that conversation, okay? But then we look at the offense, and Jasson Dominguez is way up. So now he's got 2 out of 3. There's no way I'm leaving him off. The question is, do you leave off Verdugo or Grisham? In my opinion, if you got to pick one to leave off, it is not Jasson Dominguez. It's either Alex Verdugo or Trent Grisham.
For me, when you look at the numbers, right, for Jasson Dominguez, and when he first came up, I would be a fool to say that he didn't struggle, because he did struggle, right? In his first 46 plate appearances in 2024, not last year, but in his first 46 plate appearances, Jasson Dominguez had a 150 batting average. Over his last 23 plate appearances, Jasson Dominguez has a 250 batting average. He has a 348 on base percentage, 600 slugging. When you look at his WRC plus, league average is 100. Jasson Dominguez is at 164 WRC plus. So if we want to highlight his struggles, cool, we could do that. His first 46 plate appearances, he struggled, but he's starting to pick it back up. Over his last 23, like I said, he's hitting over 250. he's hitting higher than Alex Verdugo is hitting over his last few games. And if you want to say that Alex Verdugo in his last 30 games has been performing better than he has all season, yes, he has. But in his last 10 games, he's starting to come back to reality of what we've seen for Alex Verdugo. When it comes to defense, Alex Verdugo is a way better defender than Jasson Dominguez. I'm not going to take that away. And like Grace said, he has dropped a few routine fly balls. But he's not the only person on the team this year that has booted routine grounders, right? Whether it's the infield, whether it's the outfield. Alex Verdugo cost us a game against the Baltimore Orioles going into the All-Star break. You guys remember that when he was going backwards and he tripped on his own 2 feet and he cost us a game. So the argument for defense, I see it, I understand it, but when you're looking at what Jasson Dominguez can bring to the table, like Grace said, he has that it factor, that difference maker gene, and that's something that I don't think Alex Verdugo has. And his career, Alex Verdugo has performed well in the postseason, and I think that's what the Yankees are going to lean on. And if I'm in that decision room, right, and I know this is something that most Yankee fans don't want to hear, but if I'm in that decision room, it's going to come down to either Dominguez, Verdugo, or Trent Grisham, right? And in reality, it should just come down to either Dominguez or Grisham. It's given that the Yankees are going to give that spot to Alex Verdugo. That's a given, right? Even though Trent Grisham, he's popped a few grand slams over the past month and a half, but it's given that first spot is going to go to Verdugo. The backup spot, I think, should go to Jasson Dominguez because he adds not only that offense punch that you could get from him, but also the speed component. And that's something that's not talked about a lot. His speed adds a different dimension to this team. You've seen what Jazz Chisholm has done on the base path for this team. Now, that trickles down to Volpe. Now, that trickles down to Birdie. Now, that trickles down to Dominguez. The more speed you had, the more dangerous you could be in late game situations when you pinch run somebody.
I feel like the loyalty to Verdugo may end us up with Verdugo and Dominguez, and I don't know if that would be the best thing because at the end of the day, you want the best. I don't know if you're. I don't know. It's tough because you can make.
So would you take Grisham over Verdugo?
Grace would probably. Because
what about you, Ghost?
Because Grisham can cover center or left or even right field, and Verdugo only does left field and right field only at Fenway. So he really pretty much only does left field. So you have a little bit more flexibility with Grisham. And yeah, his bat is what it is, but so is Alex Verdugo's bat. And I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough. I think I don't. No shade to Verdugo, but like we got to make a tough call here, you know? Yeah. I don't know.
Folks in the chat, I see a lot of people with the thumbs up for Jasson Dominguez. We got Eli BK. Shout out to Eli BK, who's giving the thumbs up to Tina as well. Richie Martinez says Dominguez in left field, Verdugo could be the defensive replacement. I'll take that. Sign me up for that. Ghost, let's get your thoughts on that. What's your thoughts?
I think obviously you want to have those good gloves out there, but then you also got to remember, right, we're going into the playoffs. We can't have those routine pop-ups happening on Jasson Dominguez. His offense, I think he'll do just fine at the plate. Without question, that man will rake. But we cannot have those errors or defensive plays like that happening in the playoffs because that's when the Yankees are going to be furious because they can't have that. Because if we're in a tight stretch and we're up 1 or even 2, and they're thinking they got to do something to make that good play or get a double play into the infield or even into the outfield to get a pop-up out, he needs to be prepared for that. I'm not saying that he's not, but at the same time, it's just a regular season. They can chalk it up to that. For me, I want to give Jasson Dominguez as much benefit of the doubt as possible because he's a great player and he did not get enough time to do so because of Verdugo, right? Because he was the one that was getting the most, opportunities at the plate. But obviously, if it were up to me, I would keep, obviously, Jasson Dominguez and Verdugo and figure out something for Trent Grisham because he has an option. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But that's my only worry because I don't know how he's going to act or react in the playoffs because, again, this is his first time being in the playoffs. How is he going to take it in? How is he going to deal with it, right? Because, again, I love Jasson Dominguez, and I will never say an ill word about the man. But this is a whole different animal you're coming into. This is something that's going to count, and it's going to count to us winning a World Series. So that's the only possible negativity that I have towards that, and that's about it.
I think he'll do well.
Mhm.
Verdugo has the pressure of his impending offseason, his free agency too. So
Yeah.
even though Verdugo's been there before, he's also got a whole nother layer of pressure for himself and his family on his shoulders that Jasson Dominguez doesn't have. He has youth, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about young kids, but youth, they're stupid. They don't even know the implications of all their actions every time, right? The innocence of youth can only be good in this situation where you're just happy to be there. Maybe you don't put as much pressure on yourself as someone who is entering into a free agency in 2 weeks or whatever. Like Jasson Dominguez, he's chilling. He's happy to be there. He's got a spot next year. And he brings the energy of the youth, which Alex Verdugo doesn't bring. You guys know as well as everybody in the chat that we have all seen Alex Verdugo walking like this, back to the bench or out to left field or after he misses a ball or whatever. Jasson Dominguez isn't like that. When Juan Soto hit number 40 the other day, who was the first person out of the dugout? The loudest person, and the person going like this, like making a damn fool out of himself, but in the best way. Love him forever. But he was the one. It's the youth. I believe the children are our future. So let them play.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that Rob Manfred has been pushing hard for, allowing the kids to be the kids. Right. And when you look at Jasson Dominguez and when you look at what our potential roadmap can be in the postseason, the reason why I want Jasson Dominguez on this team is because the baseball gods are the baseball gods. And nobody after the first month of the season thought that the Yankees, one, not only could be in this spot right now, especially how we played in June, but also we potentially can match up with the Houston Astros in the postseason, in the ALCS. And if the Yankees match up against the Houston Astros, who do we have on our team who hit the Astros well, who got a home run off of Justin Verlander? And that's Jasson Dominguez. So if the Yankees are going to meet up and match up against the Houston Astros, and you look at the numbers that Jasson Dominguez did last year, and you looked at over his last 23 at-bats, he's starting to figure it out. You got to ride the hot hand. You can't just sit Jasson Dominguez, especially when you look at our lineup. There's not that many players outside of Juan Soto that has great numbers against Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros. So we need to have the hitters who have good numbers against the Astros, specifically Justin Verlander. So we need to have Jasson Dominguez in the lineup in some capacity. I definitely think Trent Grisham will be the odd man left out. I think Alex Verdugo, the Yankees will ride with Alex Verdugo, use him as a defensive replacement or however they want to match it up. But I think Trent Grisham will be the odd man out. John Birdie is going to be key because he could play the corner outfield spots alongside playing the infield. Oswaldo Cabrera is another guy that he could play the infield and he could spot if he has to be in the outfield for an emergency reason, whatever. The fact that we have guys on our team that are versatile players that can play multiple positions, it helps us out and it makes the decision easier for Aaron Boone and for Brian Cashman when constructing this postseason roster. I just want to look up Dominguez real quick because I have a graphic for Dominguez. I just want to bring this up real quick because Fireside Yankees, they put it up. In his 11 games since being called up back to the big leagues, Jasson Dominguez, he is slugging .417. He has a 115 WRC plus, 2 home runs, and 4 stolen bases. You see that WRC plus? This is over his entire 11 games. But I pointed out, in his last 23 at-bats, that WRC plus, it goes from 115 all the way up to 163. So he's figuring it out. He's getting on base. He's adding that speed component, something that the Yankees, we've been lacking this season. You saw how much speed can change the dynamics of a lineup just by inserting Jazz Chisholm. Now it makes it easier for Anthony Volpe to steal bases. Then you add in John Birdie, who could pinch run and steal some bases. A couple of years ago, when the Yankees were killing it in 2022, when Aaron Judge had 62 home runs, we were the first team to 70 wins. A big part of that at the beginning of the season for our first 50 or 60 games, why we were so good, because the Yankees had a guy named Tim LaCastro who was pinch running out off of the bench late in games. Whenever Giancarlo Stanton got on base, they always pinch ran Timmy Lowe, and he stole a base, and he always came around to score. And when Tim LaCastro got injured, and when Giancarlo Stanton got injured, that's when we went on our decline. Go ahead, Grace, because I know you wanted to chime in real quick.
No, all I was going to say was, yes, Jasson's stats are what they are, and that's important to look at, of course, okay? But I got another one that I want everybody to look at. What has the team done since Jasson Dominguez has been called up? What's our record? How's the team been looking? How's the team been feeling? How has the vibe been? Okay, these are intangible things that maybe you can't quantify with a statistic of this or that or whatever. But with Jasson Dominguez's name in the lineup, with his personality and his energy and his youth and all the stuff on the bench even, what has happened to the team? It's important. It's important because guess what? Grisham, nice, Li, thank you. Grisham and Verdugo have been on this team all year long. And we have seen them at the height and we have seen them at the pit, okay? We have seen them at the point where you want to shake them and be like, wake up, what are you doing? We have not seen that since Jasson Dominguez has joined the team. Now, I'm not saying it's all because of him. Obviously, there's other factors at play. However, this is important to think about. The dynamic, the chemistry, the feeling is so important going into the postseason. When every team that you meet is going to be good, every pitching staff is going to be ready. Everybody is gonna have your number and know exactly how to dissect you and expose your weaknesses. That's when the intangible things that they can't touch come into play. And that is what Jasson Dominguez brings to the team. Don't sit, my boy.
I want to shout out my guy Austin Cruz, and shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Austin says, I'm sorry to be an ignorant baseball fan, but what the heck is WRC plus? All right, Austin, because this is a stat that I just started getting into this year. WRC plus means weighted runs created, right? It's a baseball statistic. I got the definition from MLB.com. It's a baseball statistic that measures a hitter's performance by accounting for external factors like ERA and the ballpark that the player is in. So how you do it is each era in baseball, it's calculated differently. So the WRC plus for a player in 2024 will be measured differently than a player from like 1999 because the ballpark dimensions, the ERAs from the pitcher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So WRC plus, right? It's just the runs that they create when they're in the game, whether that's defensively saving a run, whether that's getting on base, stealing a run, whether that's getting a single, double, or home run. All of that is put into measure, and it also determines on the ballpark that the player is in. It's a crazy metric, right? But shout out to my guys at Fireside Yankees because they're the ones that put me on to that one. Ghost, before you go, right, I got a video that I just got of Brian Cashman, right, celebrating because all the Yankee fans that were saying fire Brian Cashman in the middle of the season. So I got a video from Brian Cashman. This is for Brian Cashman. Yeah, because tonight the Yankees, right, and selfishly, I'm saying it right now, right, the Yankees are one game away from clinching the AL East, right? So when you look at that, we have a game against the Baltimore Orioles today. I will be at Yankee Stadium covering it via Latino Sports. Shout out to the good people over there. So I'll be on the field getting some photos and some videos. But selfishly, as a Yankee fan, I want to see them clinch, right? And I know that I'm gonna have to leave the press box like after the 7th inning, because the number one rule is you're not supposed to root for any team, right? When you're in the press box. So I'm leaving after the 7th inning. I'm out. I'm out of the press box after the 7th inning, and I'm joining the Yankee fans. I'm going with the bleacher creatures. I'm actually going to try to be in the luxury suite so I can like try to get on the field afterwards. But yeah, that selfishly, I want the Yankees to clinch tonight because I will be in the building. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I said this before in a space before, in another space before. I can always forgive when you win a World Series. Everybody can. Everybody can forgive and forget, but you can never forgive 1,000 bad over one good, right? It's the same thing I said about Gleyber. He's done horrendous the entire season, but he started picking it up at the end when it mattered. And I think the same thing could be said about Doogie. He's had his ups and downs, but still he started picking it up a little bit. And same with Aaron Boone. If he wins a World Series, you forgive and you forget, right? So I could always forgive him if he wins a World Series for the Yankees. Absolutely. I will let it go in a heartbeat. But same thing with him. He's done a lot more wrongs than he's done right. So that's kind of where my mindset is at with that. Now, Brian Cashman's job is probably secured if he can win us a World Series right now, which I think it will happen without question as long as this team stays healthy and they're in the right mindset to get it done. I think it could happen, but I still, even for me, if I only speak for myself, that's fine. I don't think I could forgive all those bads that quickly because he's done a lot of things that I can't respectfully agree with. Same with Boone. He's made some very bonehead decisions that even throughout the season, costed some players, including a Jasson Dominguez, are coming up a lot earlier than he was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost, let me ask you. I know you
Grace.
have to run, but I want to ask you real quick since you brought this up. So you were saying like a body of work you can forgive and forget, but you kind of, still waited in. So would you, if we win the when we win the World Series, would you re-sign Boone? Would you extend Gleyber?
No, hell no. No, hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. I said this to the group I was in the space before.
Yeah.
He can win a World Series. Woo woo! I'll celebrate. Don't worry. I'm gonna cheer on for the boys and pinstripes. But that man's getting got. Same with Gleyber, man. We're not having this conversation with him, man. I can't do it. And to be honest with you, Grace, I love this team, and I know we've been through this since the beginning of the season, and seeing this team kind of get constructed to what it is now with the pickups we've made and the right decisions that they've made. Obviously, I'm very happy about that. But as I said in the beginning, I could always forgive if you win a World Series, but I can never forget all the thousands of bad that you have done, because that's just not going to just sweep itself under the rug. It's not going to happen.
You know what? I like you.
Well, that's why we come together to talk Yankee baseball, right? Because regardless of how we look at the team, all of our opinions are all different, right? This is not an echo chamber, right? I know my takes are different than Grace. I know Grace's takes are different than Ghost. And I know Ghost's takes are different from Damien or anybody else that comes up here and have conversation with us. But the one thing that's constant, the one thing I can say that we are all here to root for is the New York Yankees. And when you look at this team, yes, it hasn't been perfect, right? We have some moments in the season that we're scratching our heads saying that the season's over. We're not even making the postseason. And now we're here celebrating that we got a 6-game lead on the Baltimore Orioles. Look, that's Yankee fans for you. But the one thing I want to say is that when you look at Major League Baseball, right, it's apparent that parity around Major League Baseball. Look at the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers literally were sellers at the trade deadline. They traded Mark Hanna away. They traded a starting pitcher and Jack Flaherty away. They traded pieces away, and they're literally right there for that third wild card spot. So it doesn't matter. Like the Detroit Tigers in 2024 is reminiscent of the New York Yankees in 2016. When we traded away all of our veterans, guys came up. Gary Sanchez became Babe Ruth for like 2 months out of the season and stuff. If there was a third wild card team back then, the Yankees in 2016, we would have made the postseason. We missed the postseason, I think, by 1 game or whatever it was, or 2 games. We would have made the postseason if it was a third wild card team back then. So I say that to say parity in Major League Baseball is key. There's not one team that we could say, you know what? I'm betting all my money that they're going to win the World Series. Because when you look at the betting odds, the odd favorite to win the World Series is the New York Yankees. It's crazy to say that. We weren't saying that a month ago. A month ago, if I would have said that, you guys would look at me like I'm an idiot, right? But a month later, when you look at the team shaping into shape, when you look at players getting healthy and coming back, when you look at the fact that the Yankees were able to find a closer in Luke Weaver, you look at all of that and you compile all that together, and the Yankees are turning into the machine that we thought they could be at the beginning of the season at the perfect time at the end of September. Now you got Juan Soto catching on fire. Aaron Judge is starting to heat up, right? And I pointed it out in yesterday's show. Going into this postseason, this is the first time ever that Shohei Ohtani is going to be in the postseason. So all the eyes, all the cameras are not going to be on Aaron Judge. All the pressure is going to be on Mr. Shohei Ohtani with the LA Dodgers.
Speaking
Absolutely,
of
man.
the machine, since you said the machine, how good have the Yankees looked since DJ LeMahieu got his injury? Am I seriously tripping right now? Having him out of the lineup has made such a difference.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
I'm sorry.
What's your thoughts?
Y'all know how I feel about DJ. But listen, am I lying? Are any lies being told?
As much as I disliked a little bit of what DJ has done, I don't blame him a lot because he was injured for most of the time. And when he came back, he was still going through an injury. But at the same time, this team has looked a lot better without him on the field, obviously. And I'm not saying that to be a despiteful hater of DJ LeMahieu. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I don't wish ill on nobody. That's horrible. Seeing a player get hurt or any player at all from any teams, I would never, nothing of that. But I think seeing this team where it's at now has looked a lot better. I'm sure DJ is beating himself up after this because I'm sure he wants to help this team out. But at the same time, you look at it from the bottom up, this team looks great, fantastically looks great. And I can't say that enough. And I think the biggest key factor into this team is really looking at, what's you're most confident in going into this team. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and Li, he brings up a great point. Li Yankee King. Shout out to my guy Li Yankee King. We got over
I literally
50,
thought about you, Li.
We got over 60 people in the building right now. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are sitting at 23 likes on YouTube. We got 46 people watching us on YouTube. Smack that like button. And if there's one thing I got to say, shout out to my guy, Li Yankee King, because Li Yankee King and my guy, Future, they've been hitting it all season when it comes to both Austin Wells and when it comes to DJ La Máquina LeMahieu, right? And like Grace said, you got to give credit to DJ LeMahieu when he was 100% healthy, when he was killing it. He was behind Aaron Judge. He was our second best hitter on our squad for 2 seasons in a row. It's not DJ LeMahieu's fault that he had hip surgery. You can't blame DJ LeMahieu because of injuries. If DJ LeMahieu was riding on a motorcycle recklessly and got into a car accident, that's a different story. This man's hip literally just gave out on him. So I'm not going to beat up on DJ LeMahieu. Maybe the Yankees should have let him sign with the Toronto Blue Jays and not re-sign him. That's on Brian Cashman, and that's on the Yankees front office. That's not on DJ LeMahieu. I want to say that first before I say that when it comes to 2024 and when it comes to DJ LeMahieu, him sitting out and not being a part of the postseason roster is what's best for the team. If he wants to be a leader or a coach, a part of the squad in the dugout, copy. I'm cool with that. But being in the lineup, being someone that we look to contribute, getting far into the postseason, it's unfair, and it's not what DJ LeMahieu can do in 2024. I'm sorry. You saw it. He had the worst season of his career, and he had some moments that he had multi-hit games, or he had a home run that impacted us winning a game, and we all thought, oh, this is the moment DJ LeMahieu turns it around, and it never happened. It never happened. So credit to DJ LeMahieu. Flowers for when he was rocking and killing with us in 2019 and 2020 and in years past. So give him his credit where credit is due. In 2024, the best option for DJ LeMahieu is not to be on the roster. I'm sorry.
I know. And like I said, it's no shade to DJ, but the team has been better without him on it. And that's just a fact. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. That's just a fact. And he was even becoming a defensive liability, which was crazy. But Anthony Rizzo can still pick it. He is picking it over there at first base, y'all. And not for nothing, Jazz throws him some wild ones sometimes. And hey, I'm not hating on Jazz. I love Jazz. I love Jazz Chisholm Jr. But he's throwing him some wild ones sometimes. And Volpe does too, and Glaber does too. But with Anthony Rizzo anchoring down that first base defense, he's contributing. He's contributing, even if it's not that much at the plate. So
and yes, TC, we do know. And Brian Cashman, we trust. Brian Cashman is TC Stills is Brian Cashman's #1 fan, right? So TC, I thought of you when I made this. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm looking forward to.
Is him going.
Oh my goodness, man!
Shout out to my guy Jason from 161 River Ave. My guy Jason holding it down like always. Sean Browning in the building. How you doing, Sean Brown? And DJ Eddie Snaps is in the building. Eddie Snaps says DJ was rushed back this season because Rizzo wasn't hitting and we had no real third baseman at the time. Absolutely. You can't forget that. When we needed a third baseman, when we needed somebody to come back, DJ LeMahieu, he came back probably sooner than he rathered. He should have came back, right? It just didn't work out, right? Ghost, what's your thoughts on DJ real quick before we change gears?
I think with DJ, like I said, he was injured. He was still in AAA trying to rehab a little bit. And yeah, you're right. They did rush him to come back. But also another person that was playing first base, that was doing wonderful for us, was a Ben Rice. And seeing him now, what he's doing over there in AAA, he's crushing baseballs like they're candy, kind of just makes me do this a little bit and go, we just sent down our first baseman out of nowhere. And now he's over there just crushing baseballs like they were candy bars. But I'm happy for him, man, because that goes to show that the future's there with him coming in for us next year, and he is going to be a sensation. And I said this when he was called up and he was doing great for us. I like Ben Rice, and then everyone was just infatuated by his plays, his on-plate appearances, and just the way that he was making contact with the ball. It was awesome. But I definitely think DJ just was not himself coming into it. I think DJ was just trying to deal with the pain and trying to give what he could to this team. And I applaud him for that, because a lot of players wouldn't do that. They would just say, nah, I can't do it. I can't deal with this anymore. But he didn't even mention it to anybody that he was still injured and playing through with it. So I applaud him for that, because a lot of guys would have just quit and said, I can't deal with it anymore. And I have to sit out. I have to just take care of this, which is, admirable, because sometimes when you just can't do it, you have to step aside and let the team do what they have to do to, make a perfect run. And now we're in the best position possible to not only win the East, to have first place, to have, first place berth in the playoffs, heading into it. I'm very happy with where we're at. And a lot of those guys that stepped up, including an Austin Wells, including a Carlos Rodon, who we needed to step up badly. Those guys have stepped up. And also Luke Weaver, Jay Cousins, who was a phenomenon out of nowhere, stepped up immensely. And these guys stepped up for this Yankee team like no other, and I applaud them for that. These guys are going to be the key factors in why we're going to win that World Series. So I applaud them for that.
Yeah. It's the next man up mentality, right? And to what Grace said, when it comes to Ben Rice, the mental toughness that young kid has, being sent down, and he could have just fell into the abyss down there in Scranton, and he said, no, I have to work on why I need to get back to the big leagues. What's my fault? And he's doing that. He's crushing the ball down there with Scranton. He's hitting well over 300, multiple home runs since going back. So credit to Ben Rice. In 2025, I do think he will get an opportunity, or he should get an opportunity to be a contributing factor on the big league roster. It's going to be how can I say, interesting to see how the Yankees operate first base next year, because after this season, Anthony Rizzo does have an $18 million team option that the Yankees, I don't think, are going to pick up. And Anthony Rizzo, as much as I love him, $18 million for the production you got from him this year, he doesn't warrant that for $18 million. I'm sorry. When you look at Gleyber Torres, I think what he's making, 10 to 14 million or whatever he's making. Li, let me know what your favorite Yankee is making in the chat. I think Gleyber Torres is making 14 million. You combine Anthony Rizzo's 18 and Gleyber Torres is 14 million. That's 32 million right there. You take that 32 and you put it on top of Juan Soto's 32. That's 64 million right there. That's 64 million that you can offer to Juan Soto to keep him with the New York Yankees. So I don't think Anthony Rizzo will be back with the Yankees, and I don't think Gleyber Torres will be back with the Yankees. Gleyber Torres is making 14.5 million. That's why I love my guy Li. He be fast with it. He quick draw McGraw. But no, I want to take a second to talk about the standings, because when you look at it, the Yankees, we have the third best record in all of Major League Baseball. That's a crazy thing to say right now. We are behind the Dodgers and the Phillies. We are the best record in the American League. So if the postseason were to start right now, we will have home field advantage in each round of the postseason going into the World Series. And that's what I want to ask you guys. How important is it to get home field in the postseason, especially in the American League? What's your thoughts on that, Grace?
You know, that when you asked me yesterday, you know, when do you want to clinch, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, let's think about the energy. Let's think about the vibes. And then Damien was like, screw that. We need to secure home field advantage all the way through until the World Series by taking the best record in the American League. And I was like, oh my God, Damien, you're so right. Damien coming with the facts. And I was like, oh, that is a great point, Damien. So now I'm on the Damien train. We're not stopping. We're not tapping the brakes at all. We are going straight through like a freight train, all the way through the Orioles, through the Pirates, and into the postseason. And we're not taking our foot off of the gas pedal. So it is so important because, as we well know, Nestor Cortez puts on a show in the Bronx. Okay, I know he's improved on the road a little bit, but he puts on a show in the Bronx. We know Cole, how he is. We know Heel. It's going to be important for Heel. He's a young player. It's going to be his first postseason. If he does end up getting the start, doing it at home would be advantageous to a young guy like him. Also, Jasson Dominguez, when we talk about his defense and, you know, can he play defense? Can he not play defense? We'll be watching him close when he's playing defense in left field in the Bronx. If he holds it down, there is no argument to not start him in the postseason. If we can secure that home field advantage, especially because, you know, 3 out of 5 games or however many, like the majority of games will be played in the Bronx. If Jasson Dominguez can hold down his defense in the Bronx, we got no problems. You know, it is so important because we know the field in and out. We're comfortable there. Everybody gets a good meal before they go play. You know, I mean, it is so important. And it's right in front of us. I had to throw it in. It's right in front of us, guys. It's right in front of us.
Listen, Grace, it is right in front of us. When you look at the Yankees record at home, the Yankees have a 42-33 record at home, and they have a 50-31 record on the road. They played a little bit more road games than they did home games this year. That's just how the schedule was worked out. Also, got over 50 people in the building watching. We're sitting on 30 likes on YouTube. If you haven't smacked that like button, smack that like button for the y'alls. All right, y'all? Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to have the home field advantage, but I also want us to obviously celebrate, you know, the accomplishment these guys have had. I think I said this yesterday when you guys were doing the Bernie Williams. But by the way, you guys did awesome. You, Dame, and Grace, all you guys did a fantastic job. You guys are just spot on with it. And I think I want Juan Soto to feel that playoff atmosphere, just winning the East. He is going to feel that Yankee love like he's never felt it before. I said this yesterday in a comment, and I'm going to bring it up again. I think that man is going to feel that energy. He's going to feel that love. And he's going to sit himself in his head. He's going to go, shit, wow. Like, he's going to have himself a wow moment because he's going to feel that first little glimpse of playoff happiness from the Yankees, from the Yankee fandom, to see them screaming, shouting, and just in awe of this excitement of winning the East. I think it's not only going to enthuse, obviously, a Juan Soto, but that man is going to be so happy to come back to us. No question in my mind that this fandom not only has shown him the love that he deserves on this Yankee team, but that's going to be one of the biggest factors in him coming back, is getting to even feel that little bit coming into it. And also, having home field advantage is huge. And I think that's one of the most important things you want to have for this, run going into the playoffs and obviously trying to win a World Series.
Y'all, I just got goosebumps. I'm such a dork.
That's why I love my guy Ghost, because I was thinking the same exact thing. Because when I was at spring training, right, when Yankee fans saw Juan Soto for the first time wearing Yankee gear and his Yankee hat and stuff, the feeling was crazy. The love that he got was crazy. Listen, that was cute. 162 games, 81 of them being in Yankee Stadium. That was cute as well. Yankee fans giving him love. But what he's going to feel in the postseason is different than anything he felt during the regular season, during the All-Star break, or during spring training. Postseason baseball in the Bronx is different. And I can say this now, being a member of media officially, right? A lot of the old school reporters that I've known, that I've met over the past few times being at Yankee Stadium working Citi Field, a lot of the old school reporters, some of the Met fans have it in their head that he's re-signing with the Yankees. They are all called. Listen, it's not a guarantee. It's not me with an inside scoop, but all the reporters that I spoke to that have been working the beat ever since the 80s and ever since the 90s and know the dynamics of the team inside and out. And like I said, some of them are Met fans. They admit that they're Met fans. A lot of them say, yeah, he's re-signing with the Yankees. Like it's ridiculous. It was like the only way he's signing with the Mets is if Steve Cohen offers him over 200 or 300 million of what the Yankees are offering. They're like, that's the only way he's signing with the Mets. So from the media perspective, or from the guys that I spoke to, a lot of them feel that he's re-signing with the Yankees. The only way he's going with the Mets is if the Mets offer him a tremendous contract. And let's be real. Steve Cohen can offer him an $800 million contract, a $700 million contract, something that Hal Steinbrenner may not be comfortable getting close to. But when it comes to the feels, when it comes to that extra factor that doesn't show up on the scouting report, it doesn't show up in a video, that feel that you get from Yankee fans inside a Yankee Stadium, it to me is going to be what pushes him over the edge when it comes to re-signing with the Yankees.
I was just going to bring up something Bernie said, like he just dropped it in yesterday. He said one of the I'm paraphrasing, but please go back and watch the Bernie interview, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's up on the channel. We did it yesterday. Bernie said something like, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, one of the best decisions that I ever made was deciding to remain a Yankee my entire career. He was offered more money by the Red Sox. He turned it down to stay. Now, I'm not trying to get into people's money, and I don't know Juan Soto's life. You know what I'm saying? So if he takes the money, like, that's his decision. However, we can offer him things we can offer him a lot of money. We can also offer him a lot more than money that maybe he needs to consider that some other clubs can't offer him. No offense, but it's true. And the players who have taken the money and gone, and I'm looking at Robinson Cano. I know almost for a fact that Robinson Cano had a conversation with Juan Soto when they played in Mexico earlier this year. And he said something to the effect of, don't
Mhm.
do what I did.
Mhm.
Because I know for a fact that Robinson Cano regrets it.
Yeah. There's
So-
there's a saying in the Dominican Republic, and if anybody's Dominican in the chat, shout out my guy Jose Medina, who probably gonna understand what I'm saying. There's a saying that it's called como solo, right? That's somebody that eats by themselves, right? And that's something that you get frowned upon in the Caribbean community, right? We never eat by ourselves. We always try to eat with everybody else. We always try to bring other people to the table to eat with us, right? And when Robinson Cano made that move and went to Seattle and he took that money, let's look at it. Let's just look at the last 10 years. Robinson Cano went to Seattle. He took that money. He never saw the postseason ever again. Albert Pujols took that money, went to the Angels. He never saw the postseason ever again. Look at what happens when you take that big time money. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And you got to ask yourself, are you happy with that extra 300, 200 million playing for a team that never makes the postseason? Look at it right now. Mike Trout, he is the longest tenure active player still on one team, and he's only been to the postseason a handful of times.
Chris Bryant,
a handful of times. Chris Bryant, another one, won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs, became a franchise player, a kid of the town. What happens? He took the money with Colorado. And what's going on with him over there in Colorado? Sometimes the money isn't everything. Sometimes all money is not good money. And when you look at Robinson Cano, like Grace said, maybe he had that conversation. We don't know. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, but I want to bring up a chat from my guy Anthony Ribeiro. Anthony R says, guys, Jazz, Volpe, Wells, Oswaldo will also have a chance to experience playoff baseball in the Bronx, and they will be electrified. Absolutely, especially Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm, when runners are in scoring position, he plays better. When the game is on the line, he plays better. Since becoming a New York Yankee, he has been the best version of himself. We had that little injury scare when we all thought that he's going to be missing some time and going on the IL. That's the one thing we could say, Jazz, you need to slow down, because sometimes you make you go after the ball sometime and you crash into the wall. I get a little nervous. I don't want to see my guy Jazz Chisholm hurt, but that's a guy that will benefit from playing in Yankee Stadium in the postseason. That electricity that Yankee fans give, it's just something that can't be measured.
Absolutely. And you saw the way he reacted even just being on the road. We weren't even at home, but you know how Yankees show up. You know how we ride for our team all across the United States of America. If you have a road game, I guarantee you half of those fans are going to be Yankees. Doesn't matter if you're playing in Texas. Doesn't matter if you're playing in Cincinnati. Doesn't matter if you're playing anywhere. Yankees fans go hard. And there is no time Yankees fans go as hard as in the postseason in the Boogie Down Bronx. It's about to go down. And Jazz is going to be a showman. He is going to, I can't wait to see.
And I got one thing I want to say. I'm going to kick it over to Ghost too. But this is the one thing I said. I said this to Joe too from Empire State of Baseball. Shout out to the guys over there at ESB. The last time Scott Boras had a client that was choosing between the Mets and the Yankees, his name was Carlos Beltran, right? And when he signed with the New York Mets, Scott Boras and Carlos Beltran called up Brian Cashman and said, listen, I'm willing to take $50 million less to sign with the Yankees. And Cashman said no and traded for Randy Johnson and gave Randy Johnson a contract extension. So if Carlos Beltran, who grew up a Yankee fan, was willing to take $50 million less to sign with the Yankees, and we said no, and we traded for Randy Johnson and gave him a contract extension, why is it going to be different with Juan Soto? I see some people saying Juan Soto is not going to give a discount. Listen, I get that. Not every one of Scott Boras's clients are going to leave money on the table, right? But if you have Carlos Beltran, who was around the same age that Juan Soto is going into free agency, who just came off a historic postseason run with the Houston Astros, won a Gold Glove, was an all-star, and he was the top fish on the market. He was willing to take $50 million less to sign with the Yankees. Why is it going to be different? Why can't Juan Soto want to do the same thing? Go ahead, Ghost.
I think Juan Soto will do it to win.
As Grace tries to scramble her mind back together. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, that did happen, and I remember that happening too. And I was talking to my brother who was a huge Beltran fan, and he saw that happen. And he was just like, "Well, he's gonna have to choose between the Mets or the Yankees," and he went over to the Mets. So, but I think Juan Soto might do that because if he wants to win more World Series, he might do that. But again, I'm not him. But obviously, if he does come back and he wants to continue to see this team flourish, which I know he does, he might do that. He might not. I don't know. But I think in my head, he might do that because I think he wants to win more World Series championships with this team. And in order to do that, you need to bring more players in to win more World Series championships. And I think that he's thinking about winning more than he's thinking about the money. So I think he sees this team up and down, World Series team. He sees that pitching rotation, World Series pitching rotation. He sees that bullpen, World Series bullpen. He sees the team up and down. He's been with this team almost the entire year. And seeing this flourish from where he was back into the beginning of the season to now, he's grown to love these guys, appreciate these guys on the field and off the field. And the people that he's admired the most out of them were all the Latino players that were on that group. He's shown a lot of love. And not only that, when he's at Yankee Stadium, there are so many Dominican flags waved up and down from the top to the bottom. They love this man. And I think he is such a humble person. Even when he was with the Washington Nationals, when he was with San Diego, he loved everybody and everyone that he was with because I think he cared more about winning than he cared more about the bag. Of course, you go after your bag. Absolutely. When it's to secure your future, your family's future, when it comes to you and your family, absolutely. But I think he cares about winning just as much. And I believe that because he sees that winning mentality in New York because other teams don't have what New York has. And I'm not saying every other teams are bums. I'm not saying that. But New York atmosphere is a hell of a lot different than what it is anywhere else. And I think New York can be that team for Juan Soto.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the one thing, I was discussing this when I was at Citi Field. If the Mets in Citi Field, if that area around Citi Field was built up and it wasn't just muffler shops, and it was like what Yankee Stadium is, where you have Billy's and you have the pizzerias and you have the diners and you have all the foot traffic and you have the different train stations that go there. If that was around Citi Field, we'd be having a different conversation because the atmosphere at Citi's Field, I do like it. It's a dope atmosphere. It's great for the fans. If you're going there as a fan and a fan experience, it's great. As a fan, there's beautiful. There's so much parking around Citi Field. That's the one thing they don't have at Yankee Stadium is parking. That's the one thing they have. But if Citi Field, the area around Citi Field was built up and it was better for public transportation and just for fans to hang out and want to do something around Citi Field, like Yankee Stadium, we're having a different conversation. I know a lot of our friends from Yankees Twitter, they met up last week at the NYYU Day at Yankee Stadium, and I know they went to Billy's after the game, and I know they hung out around Yankee Stadium. So when you go to a Yankee game, it's not just going inside the stadium and that's it. No, there's more to it. It's going to hang out at stands. It's going to hang out at Twins. It's going to La Bodega where the bleacher creatures hang out. It's going to the Grand Concourse to get a La Piragua. That. It's so much to do around Yankee Stadium, and they don't have that around Citi Field. And I think for the Mets, that's hurting them more than anything else. I know Steve Cohen and his ownership group, they're trying to build that up around Citi Field. If they had that around Citi Field, then the conversation of where Soto is going to go, it's a little bit trickier now because now it's easier for the Dominican fans to take the train to go to Citi Field, right? If all of that is built up. Right now, it's not that easy. I took the train. It was an hour and a half coming from where I live in Washington Heights to go to Citi Field. I'm going to tell you this right now. The average Dominican baseball player is not going to take a whole hour and a half to get to Citi Field. It takes me 15 minutes to get to Yankee Stadium. You're going to tell me, what would I rather do, 15 minutes to Yankee Stadium or an hour and a half to get to Citi Field? I take the 15 minutes every day. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, hot take, whatever you want to say. I think this is what's going to happen. I think that Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, they have a relationship with Juan Soto at this point. They're not stupid. They have a relationship with him.
Mhm.
Steve Cohen does not have that relationship with him at this point, okay? Just because of access, just because of day-to-day wine and dine, whatever, okay? They've been doing it for a year. At the end, this is what's going to happen. They're going to tell him, Soto, you know how we feel about you. We love you. We want you here. We want you hitting in front of Judge for the next 10 years. We will pay you. We will take care of you. You will be in the Yankees family. Enjoy free agency. Go out there, take some meetings, take some private plane rides. Absolutely. Get your fill. When you get all your offers, we'll be your final call. I'll match whatever they say. You make me the
Hopefully.
last call. When he gets that number from Steve Cohen or whoever, and he calls up and says, this is the number I got. You're my last call. I promised you you'd be my last call, and you're going to be my last call. This is the number I got. Hal Steinbrenner's going to say, done. Agree to me right now. Done. No more back and forth. No, you, call you, back to Steve Cohen, back to Steinbrenner, Steve Cohen, Steinbrenner. No. We'll be your last call, and we'll match whatever it is. I guarantee you this is how it's going to go down. This man's going to be a Yankee. Steinbrenner's not going to let him go. And we have the money. Don't believe the narrative that the Yankees don't have the money. They have the money. And they're going to get their guy.
They definitely do have the money. Let's shout out some of the chats real quick before we continue the conversation. Shout out to my guy Pizza M in the building. Pizza Manetti says the problem with Cashman as a negotiator is that he never looks like he gives a crap. Yes, Brian Cashman, he has resting GM face. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Anthony Ribeiro says, guys, long-term contracts are never a good thing. In my honest opinion, Yankees offer Soto 4 years at $60 million per with $100 million signing bonus. He will be the highest paid player, and he can enter free agency at 13 years old. Listen, I see the logic behind it, Anthony. In Major League Baseball, you already know who his agent is. His agent is going to try to maximize and try to get as many years as possible. But what I could see in that deal is a lot of opt-outs, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, whatever the Yankees sign Juan Soto to, I would see an opt-out right at the age of 30 years old, because that's right, or at 29, because that's right before, he's still in his prime and he can maximize and try to get another massive contract in 4 or 5 years. Cool copy. If that happens, I'll be happy with it. If we sign Juan Soto and we offer him opt-outs and he opts out in 5 years from now, I'm happy with it. Copy. At least we got Juan Soto and he was until he was 29 or 30 years old. I'm happy with it. If that's how it works out, that's how it works out. But I do think his contract will be 12 to 13 million with opt-outs in between. Opt-outs after the first 4 years, opt-outs after the 6th year, or whatever. It's going to be a player opt-out after each year. That's just how I look at it. Patrick Sinclair says Citi Field 7 train runs local on the weekends, and they don't have a shuttle or express train either. Yeah, that sucks getting over to Citi Field. But the one topic I want to switch gears to this, but it's going to be two real quick. I want to give some flowers to Ron Marinaccio. I wanted to start off the show with this, but better late than never. But Ron Marinaccio, he was put on waivers by the New York Yankees, and he was claimed by the Chicago White Sox. Shout out to Ron Marinaccio, the kid from Toms River, New Jersey. I remember when he first got called up, and they kept letting us know every time he was in the game, this kid's from Toms River. You could play a drinking game, take a shot every time they mentioned Toms River when Ron Marinaccio is pitching. But listen, it didn't work out. When he first came up, he looked like he's a future setup guy, future closer for some years. Injuries, overuse, we don't know what it is, but hopefully he figures it out with the Chicago White Sox. And now the White Sox, they may now have their closer for the next few years, and Ron Marinaccio. It didn't work out with us here, but hopefully he can figure it out on the South Side in Chicago. One thing to know is if the Yankees do win a World Series, he would get a World Series ring because he was on the roster this season. So shout out to Ron Marinaccio.
Now he's on the worst team of all time. It's terrible. The worst team of all. They tied the all-time in the modern era record for most losses in a season. And
Yeah.
they're probably gonna pass the record because there's still a few games left. Oh.
Yeah, but they have 120 losses, right, on the season.
I think it's more than that.
Oh my God, I'll look it up right now. Yeah, but shout out to our guy. Oh man, it sucks.
It's just unfortunate. It's like getting drafted by the Bears or the Browns or something. It's like now you're on that team.
Oh no, yeah. The White Sox, they have 36 wins and 120 losses. They have a winning percentage of 231. They fucking suck.
Oh my God.
that's bad. That's terrible,
bad.
man.
Go ahead, Grace.
I feel so bad for Ron.
I know.
I think there was so much potential with that man. There really was. Yeah. It was unfortunate. You know, I wish him nothing but the best because he was such a great bullpen piece for this team. And it sucks we couldn't have just waited a little longer to kind of see what he could have done. Maybe even call him back up. Who would have known what he could have given us? But all the best to him. Sucks he got picked up by the White Sox. I wish we could have had another conversation if we could have. But it is what it is. There's not more you can do about it. Just hope for the best for him, honestly, man. That sucks.
Again, we wish him the best. You know, from one sad story to a good story, we got to talk about Gerrit Cole. His last start against the Oakland Athletics, he only gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, but it was a complete game, and the Yankees got the win in extra innings. Gerrit Cole, with the limited amount of games and innings he has pitched this year, he is 6 strikeouts away from 100 strikeouts on the season. I'm going to bring up his record. He has a 7-5 record with a 3.67 ERA. If you just take away, I know it's nitpicking at stats. I get it. I understand some people hate it. But if you take away his 2 bad starts from the Mets and that 1 bad start against the Boston Red Sox, Gerrit Cole's ERA is in the low 2s, 2.31, 2.35. So when you look at what we've gotten out of Gerrit Cole on limited innings and limited starts, because he started the year injured, he is almost at 100 strikeouts. He is getting into form, especially after his last start against the Red Sox. He got lit up. I think he was embarrassed, especially with what everyone was saying about him online. And I think he took that personal, and he showed it against the Oakland Athletics. Granted, it's the Oakland Athletics. You know, they're like a soft, a little league team right now, but they're still a major league team at the end of the day, not to disrespect them. And he showed up and he showed out 9 innings at the perfect time. I think he has 1 more start against the Baltimore Orioles this Thursday. And then after that, he'd be lined up to pitch in the ALDS. Grace, how important was that start from Gerrit Cole against the Oakland Athletics for his, not just his mentality, but from a team aspect, you know, building, because we could have lost that game against the Oakland Athletics. We won that in extra innings. You know, how important was Gerrit Cole in that start?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it was the Oakland Athletics, but my daddy pitched 9 innings, okay? I don't care who you're playing. He made a statement, and everybody was freaking out. Oh, the Devers thing. And I said, okay, wait, just wait. Let's see how it comes out of his next start. And he made a statement. Daddy is home. Gerrit Cole said, okay, watch this. I'm fixing to pitch practically a no-hitter. If people in the field would have done their job, it would have been a no-hit. It should have been a no-hitter, okay? He was on his ish that day. And yeah, it was the Oakland Athletics, but he pitched 9 innings. So come on, that's still a statement. He looks amazing. And like you said, if you take away those 2 starts against the Mets and that 1 game against the Sox, you just use your own eyes. Don't look at the stats. Just use your own eyes. Watch this man pitch and tell me he's not one of the best in baseball. Because if you just open your own eyes, you can see that. He is an absolute leader, ace, stud, whatever you want to say. And here's another hot take for me. If he turns down his option, I would pick it up. If I was the Yankees, I would pick it up. A lot of people are saying, no, don't pick it up, save the money. He's cooked, he's old, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know the extension of the elbow situation. None of us do. The Yankees do. We don't. But I would pick it up. This man is dependable. I mean, he has all the other intangibles, coaching, helping everybody else on the staff, contributing in whatever way he can, putting the team on his back, and he pitches like that. He's amazing.
Yeah. Me personally, I want to shout out Frederick Dean, the Rooter in the building. First of all, I love Frederick's name. Shout out to Frederick. Good morning, Hector, Grace, and Ghost. Absolutely. Shout out to my guy FL Diver in the building as well. Salute to you. Salute. My guy Crackle Nuts is in the building. Crackle Nuts, I hope all is well. I missed you last week at Yankee Stadium, Crackle Nuts, but I hope all is well, my guy. I cannot wait for Knicks basketball to come back. Shout out to my guy Crackle Nuts with the Jalen Brunson profile pic. Shout out to Razil the Great in the building. Razil, hope all is well. I haven't seen you in a minute. We have over 60 people watching us collectively. We got 50 people on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button. Interact with the emojis. It helps us when it comes to getting the live out to other Yankee fans so they could join the conversation. We are on our way to 5K subs. Help us out by smacking the sub button. Ghost, let's get your take on Gerrit Cole and how important was it for Daddy Cole to get his gears back in motion?
Sir, I would like to make a suggestion before I make a comment on Gerrit Cole. I would like for us to make a shirt that says the Jekyll and Hyde effect. Jekyll and Hyde effect. That is what Gerrit Cole suffered from. He suffered from the Jekyll and Hyde effect. Because 1 minute, he wasn't all there. The next minute, he was the Cole train. He was riding that express, ready to kiss you with it. And right now, obviously, it's the Athletics. It's hard to give him a lot of credit, but he did pitch out all 9 innings, so that was damn impressive by him. I think it's almost like every time he has a horrible outing, he has a fantastic outing, right? And it's happened before when he had come back from that injury and he was just giving up home runs left and right. And I was just concerned that he wasn't himself again. But then he started showing us the old Gerrit Cole at times. So I considered it something like, I want my ace to be the ace that he was. I always supported Cole. And every time we needed Cole, he stepped up. And he's been that guy. And I think he is that guy nonetheless. But I'm worried because I don't know what version of him I'm going to get in the playoffs. And that's what scares the hell out of me. Because I don't know what he's going to give me. He can come back and give me the Jekyll and Hyde effect. He can be the guy that's just unsure and unconfident of himself, and I don't know what I'm going to get out of him. Or he can be the monster he always was, and he could give you the 100-mile strikeouts, the nasty stuff to get you out, just work the count, make you suffer. But that's what worries me about Gerrit Cole, because right now, after we do that stretch of the last 6 games we're having to face, obviously 3 against Baltimore, 3 against Pittsburgh, I think that rest is going to give that man a lot of what he needs back, a little bit of time to adjust, prepare. And I think absolutely I have the most utmost confidence in Gerrit Cole. But I think we need to get that home field advantage for that rest to come into play. But I think as of right now, I'm worried that I don't know what version of him I'm going to get.
Don't worry.
I'm worried. And I was about to say the same thing. I'm worried if we were facing the Boston Red Sox in the first round or the New York Mets, right? But being that it's not either of those teams, I'm pretty confident that Gerrit Cole will be the best version of himself, especially he has something to prove, right? And to go back on his opt-out, he has an option that he can opt out of his contract just to pick up what Grace was talking about. But the Yankees could void him testing free agency by just picking up the last year of his contract. Right now, he has a 9-year contract. He signed a 9-year contract with the Yankees. If he opts out, the Yankees pick up the last year and make it a 10-year contract. He's not a free agent. But if he opts out and the Yankees do not pick up that 10th year option, then he becomes a free agent and then he can test free agency. But I think with the injury that he had, I'm not sure if he's going to opt out, right? Maybe he's not, and maybe he's not confident that a team. I don't know. It's all up to Gerrit Cole. If I'm Scott Boras, I'm having him opt out. So the Yankees, I'm forcing the Yankees' hand to pick up that final year. But then you got to ask yourself, how confident are you Are you willing to leave this 5 years left on the table, the 4 years guarantee on the table, to try to get a 6-year deal when your player is in the middle of his 30s and just came off of an injury scare with his elbow? So it's a gamble if you're Scott Boras, because you have 4 years and $100+ million guarantee from the New York Yankees. Do you feel confident that Gerrit Cole can go out there and get a 6 or 8 year deal from another team? I'm not too sure. And if you're the Yankees, you got to ask yourself, do you want to lose Gerrit Cole, your ace of your staff, and rely on Carlos Rodon, or just want to pick up that last year on his contract and give him a 10-year deal instead of a 9-year deal? So it's very interesting to see how the Yankees will play it. If I'm the Yankees, I'm picking up that last year. I'm sorry, I'm not letting Gerrit Cole leave my team for another team. I'm sorry, that's just me personally. You could call me a stupid GM if you want to. Whatever. I want to highlight some chats real quick. Hugh in the building. Huge Janice said with the 199, Yankees need this W tonight. Great show, guys. Hugh, thank you for the 199, helping us keep the lights on. LA Yankee King says this is an easy pickup. It's easy. Just pick up the option. Absolutely. Brazil says they should be taking his last year and not playing around with Cole. Absolutely. Anthony Ribeiro says, guys, final word on playoff baseball in the Bronx. Haven't been to more playoff games than I'll admit to. It's akin to a religious experience, and God is truly a Yankee fan. And that's what I want to talk about real quick, because I haven't been able to go to any postseason games at the stadium in person. This is going to be the first year that I'm going to be able to go to any postseason games, right? As a fan, as somebody who's working for Latino sports, I'll be able to go to some postseason games this season. I'm super excited. Can't wait for that. But it's 12:16. We're gonna wrap things up right now. Grace, final words for the people before we get out of here. We do have over 60 people in the building, and we're sitting on 39 likes on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button for the y'all. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, the plural of you is y'all, and the plural of y'all is all y'all. So all y'all smack the like button, please. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm feeling really, I'm a little nervous because I'm feeling so confident, and I haven't felt this type of I don't know, like just excitement and like belief in a long time. Not 2022, not 2021, not in a long time. So I guess I'm ready to get my heart broken again. So but no, I really believe that if we take care of ourselves, there is no team that can beat us. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Not the Astros, not the Dodgers, not anybody. If we take care of what we need to take care of, again, it's all in front of us. So if we just take care of our own stuff, we are going to go all the way. I really believe that. The rest is going to do Volpe good. The rest is going to do Cole good. The rest is going to do Nestor good. It's going to do, you know what I mean? Like for the bullpen, the rest that we're going to get when we get this last win, which is going to happen, it's going to be crucial. And I used to be like, no, we need to keep the vibes up. We need to keep the vibes up. I think the rest is going to be so important for these guys. We have all the tools we need. I'm super excited. That's my final word.
Ghost, let's get your final words, brother. Shout out to the chat as well. My guy Sunil in the building. Shout out to Sunil. Sorry if I didn't mention you early, Sunil. Salute to my guy Sunil. Sunil, drop the Facebook page. Sunil has been helping behind the scenes when it comes to creating a Facebook page, so we can all join a Facebook page. Sunil, if you don't mind, drop the Facebook page into the chat so people can join. Drop the link to that Facebook group that Sunil started. Going forward, I will be putting the live show on that Facebook group, and I'll have the link for that Facebook group in the description of the video so everybody can join that group that Sunil created over there on Facebook for us. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Ghost. My fault.
No, you're good, man. I said this before, and I'll say this again. This has been the second time I get to experience something like this. And the first time this happened was in 2009. Ooh. And I remember when it happened, I had my uncle on in my other hand in my phone, and it's been the happiest I've ever been, the happiest I've ever felt. that man and I have shared such a great moment together, and it meant the world to me because we got to experience a World Series together. I'm sure he's experienced more than I have. This was my first. This would be my second. And I think, to me, getting to share this with not only everyone that I've gotten to meet from the circle, from you, Dame, and you, Grace, that's meant the world to me. And obviously meeting Rich, meeting everyone else in the circle, Boogie, and all those guys have been wonderful. But I get to share this experience again. And I cannot tell you how happy that makes me, how excited I am for this, because I've said this before and I'll say this again. The East belongs to the Bronx. And that is going to be something that I want to see when we win, because I think they're going to make that as the flag when we go into the playoffs. The East belongs to the Bronx. I hope they do, but I cannot wait to see that celebration happen. I cannot wait to see us go to war to win the American League Championship Series. I cannot wait to see who we face in the World Series. It's like I already see what's going to happen. I have a magic ball somewhere next to me. And I said this before, and I'll say this prediction again. I think it's going to be New York versus Philly. I think Philly is a dog. I think those guys are just as hungry as we are. And I think they're sick and tired of being underestimated. And I think those guys are going to give the Dodgers hell, the Padres hell, whoever they have to face after. And then they're going to have to face us. And that's when that battle is going to be beautiful. I cannot wait for that. So thank you for that, my friend.
Oh no, listen, I'm right there with you, Ghost. I look forward to being able to call the postseason, with you, Grace, with you, Ghost, with you, Damien. Be on the lookout because Twitter Spaces will be coming back in the postseason. More Yankees content over here on Uptown Sports TV will be coming back for the postseason. I'll be at as many games as possible during the postseason, covering it for Latino sports. I'll be at the game tonight. So hopefully tonight, like my guy Austin Cruz put in the building, hopefully tonight, the sooner rather than later, sooner the better. Austin says, I'm excited for the Yankees to clinch the AL East and clinch home field for the AL playoffs. They have a realistic chance of going to the World Series and win. And this is the one thing. This is why I want the Yankees to match up with the Houston Astros in the ALCS. The only way for the Yankees to exercise their demons is to finally beat the Houston Astros in the postseason. And I've been saying it for a while. If the Yankees won a World Series last year or even this year and they didn't face the Astros in the postseason, yes, it's a World Series, but it wouldn't feel as justified or wouldn't feel as good as if it would be or when it will be when we beat the Astros and we get to the World Series. We have to exercise our demons and finally beat the Houston Astros. We have to get that monkey off our back. We have to. I'm sorry. As Yankee fans, we know when it comes to the Minnesota Twins, we have that over them. We're the big meanie in the stories of the Minnesota Twin fans. And that's what the Houston Astros and their fan base are to us during these past 10 years. Ever since the Yankees and the Astros faced off in 2017 in the postseason for the first time, even 2015 when we lost to them in the wild card. Yeah, I think it's 2015. Ever since 2015, or ever 2014, whatever it was, ever since we matched up against the Houston Astros in the wild card and we got eliminated by the Astros, the Astros have owned us. We are the Minnesota Twins and they are the New York Yankees. And we have to exercise our demons and beat the Houston Astros. That's the last thing I'm going to say. I hope Jose Altuve stubs his toe going to the bathroom at 3 a.m. I'm going to keep on saying that. But appreciate everybody in the building. Appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate my guy Austin Cruz, Frederick, Pizza Marinetti. I just realized this. This is a play off of Pete Seminetti's name, Pizza Marinetti. Shout out to Pizza M in the chat. Shout out to my guy Pete. I just realized that shit by just reading his name. Jose Medina. Shout out to you, Jose Medina. Shout out to Sunil in the building as well. TC Stills, my brother from another mother. TC says he's willing to help out as well. TC, shoot me a text message and we can discuss that and we can set that up. But again, until next time, until Thursday, I'm Hector.
I'm Grace Monroe.
I'm Ghost.
And this is Yankees Morning Brew, and we will be back on Thursday. Ghost he already knew. He didn't even practice.
He jumped right in. I know.
He jumped right into it. He was a natural. Ghost, appreciate you like always, my brother. Shout out to the chat. Grace, I love you. Oh, and this is one thing I just wanted to say to Grace while we're on live. The amount of women that have reached out and have commented on the fact that Grace is holding it down for women in sports over the past week is one thing I forgot to mention to you, Grace. They are writing in the comment section. They are DMing us on Twitter. Grace Monroe, you do amazing work out there. I've said it before. Grace is knowledgeable in baseball. She talks great about the Yankees. She great takes when it comes to sports in general. So I just want to give Grace Monroe, my bestie, her flowers. Grace, I love you. Doses.
Yeah, she's wonderful, man, and I can't say that enough.
I love y'all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play the intro so Grace could cry behind the screen. Okay, bye guys.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.